is happening, my friends? Welcome back. Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show. This is the show where we discuss trending news, thought-provoking discussions from the fields of politics, sports, pop culture, and really all the above. As you know, this is just a simple conversation with me and you, my friends, the listeners, the viewers out there. And so excited to be joining you for another great episode. I'm excited because I also have a special guest that will be coming on soon on the program. Philip Hines. Philip Hines is a business owner. He's a community guy. He's also a current candidate for Virginia Beach City Council District 8. And like I said, I here on this program, and I've been so fortunate to get to talk with so many people that work really on the local standpoint of politics. Because, you know, as I speak on many times here on this program, it's very important to know what's happening in your backyard. We always continue to watch what we see on the news, sometimes even like mainstream news. So we think of, okay, whatever happens federal is the most important thing. Nope, you got to kind of reel it back and see what's happening in your community, in your local areas. And that's why, as you know, it's election season. I've had many candidates, some current officials on a local state level here on this program talking about the importance, for one, about voting, what's happening in the communities, and all this good stuff. So again, I'm excited to have Philip Hines, man. He's a cool guy. I've read a little bit about his background and family man as well. So excited to just see, you know, what is his reason, for one, for running. Two, why should people, what will they get out of a Philip Hines vote, you know, for District 8, right? And of course, the question is, why politics? Because out of all the things to join, like, who wants to join? Like, I mean, I'm already thinning up at the top. I'm not going to do a close shot at it because I don't want to blind you guys, but it's like, you know, I'm getting grades too, man. And I'm too, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't look that bad, but still, I'm a business owner myself. It can be stressful. And then adding on, like I said, he's a family man, a husband, a father, and he's one to, you know, enter in the field of local office. So it can be stressful, but I always give props and credit and respect to anybody that takes that leap, takes that that gamble, because we can all, it's easy to complain a lot, right? It's easy to complain about the potholes and this and that and taxes, but guess what? People will say, okay, what are you going to do about it? I'm just going to complain. It's quite easy. I rather just complain. So unlike Phil, man, Phil's the guy that's going to do something about it. And that's why he is, you know, hey, he's entering the race for a reason, because he sees something not going right in his community. So he's like, okay, let me take this leap of faith. So again, I'm excited to have him on the program. But y'all, new episodes, as you know, I always like to do the intro before. New episodes of this program airs every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, via podcast. So wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's iHeartRadio, Spotify, Odyssey, let's see, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, really wherever you listen to your podcast, you can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. All you have to do is just type in the R Smooth Club Media, and that will gear you to all of our amazing shows. I believe we're at like about 100 over 100 episodes right now, 105 to be exact, I think. And so I truly appreciate that. If you prefer to watch the video version of this program, you can do so as you see the ticker going down at the bottom. Those exact same days, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 5 p.m. on our YouTube channel, R Smooth Club Media, the letter R, and then Smooth Club Media. Also, Rumble at the Arrington Gavin Show, Facebook at R Smooth Club Podcast, as well as RSC Media on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm gonna start retiring the formerly known as Twitter, because I feel like by now everybody should know, okay, X is Twitter, but then some people still call it Twitter. It's back and forth. But you know what I mean. If you want to watch some reruns of this program, you can do so also every Saturdays and Sundays on ESP TV on Facebook or ErnestSmithProductions.com. That's right. ESP TV is a local owned, minority owned streaming channel. Has some great content on there, local independent films, programs like myself, and just again, shout out to independent media, right? Independent media, minority media. We always love to support that. Before and one more thing, because you guys pretty busy. Check out my weekly radio show in your city with me, my good friends, comedian Ciroc Fox and Hustle Queen Miss Michelle Young. That airs every Sundays at noon on WNSB 91.1 FM. Okay, if you're not in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area and you can't find us on your radio dial, no worries. It's a free app, I believe, is available, WNSB app, so you can listen to us from there or at WNSB.org. Yeah, I think that's the whole spiel. Whew. Now I can kind of loosen up a little bit. As you see, I'm kind of fixed up. I have a button-up shirt on. I had a blazer and stuff earlier because my business, Revolution, we are the sponsor for season 3 of it's a local show here in the Hampton Roads area called Coast Comedy Live. Coast Comedy Live, and I'm so excited to be a part of it for another season because, excuse me, Coast Live is a Monday through Friday week morning lifestyle show. It's a part of a CBS affiliate, WTKR, here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. It's hosted by my good friends April Woodard, Emmy nominated journalist, as well as Chandler Nunley, another no stranger to the show. He's been on the podcast before, and they have started a spinoff show called Coast Comedy Live. It's an opportunity given out to local comedians in the Hampton Roads area where they can showcase their talent. It's about around 6 episodes, 2 comedians per episode, and we just started recording season 3. It's so funny, man. I'll tell you one thing: laughter is the best medicine. Okay, I go to more comedy shows than I do concerts, so it was awesome. Had a recording session today. Made a lot of great context. Ran to people I haven't seen in a long time, and it was just a great day. Great day here in Hampton Roads. So definitely tune into that for people who are local, because that show will be coming out pretty soon. Episodes, I believe, airs every Fridays. Don't get me quoting as far as it's either 7 p.m. or 7:30, but I'll make some posts on the social media and all that good stuff. So, like I said, guys, the man of the hour, I'm going to do a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'll be joining with Philip Hines, candidate for Virginia Beach City Council District 8. Y'all don't go anywhere. We will be right back here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Don't change that dial.
Order your beard care products with Rugged Evolution. We're your local beard care line that supports the maintenance of your full, mature beard. Our line includes conditioning shampoos, moisturizers, balms, oils, shaving lotions, and exfoliating soaps. These products moisturize, hydrate, nourish, and have all the natural ingredients for a healthy beard. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
All right, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. Look, Philip Hines, this guy right here, so excited to be talking with him. Like I mentioned before earlier in the show, he's running for Virginia Beach City Council District 8, okay, District 8. Like a good portion of the cities here, well, actually, I'll take it back. Now, a lot of the cities in the Hampton Roads area are in what they call the district system. We have some that are might be in the ward system, some that are still at large, meaning that they people on council don't represent, say a pocket or community within that city. So yes, he's running for District 8. Very excited to be talking with him. Without further ado, let me go bring him on, Mr. Philip Hines. Phil, what's going on with you, boss?
Hey, not much. I appreciate you having me on, Arrington.
Man, so excited to be speaking with you, man. To before we get on in the meat and potatoes of things as far as what your campaign, can you give the folks just a little bit about the background of Phil Hines, upbringing? Are you a hometown guy? Give us a little spiel.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong Hampton Roads resident. Grew up in a small town called Smithfield, which is about 45 minutes southwest of Virginia Beach. But when you grow up in Smithfield, in a very small town, if you want to go anywhere like a Sam's Club, BJ's, or anything like that, or a mall, you have to leave town. So spent a lot of time, throughout Hampton Roads. But yeah, I've come from a big family. I'm one of 6. I was the 5th kid. Grew up in a very humble beginnings, a 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,200 square foot house. But we had everything we needed. We lived next to a public park, close to the little town of Smithfield, and with a lot of siblings, a lot of sports, and a lot of time outside the house. But yeah, so graduated from Smithfield High School. Ultimately, graduated from ODU, and I've been in Virginia Beach ever since 2011.
Awesome. Well, shout out to ODU. My wife is also, she got her master's there. She works at Old Dominion as well. So shout out to ODU. I actually have a nephew that just finished his sophomore year at ODU as well. So ODU definitely has a special place in the heart. And to kind of, so with Philip was saying, guys, as far as, Smithfield is, it's a small town. So if you need to get to, like you said, a Sam's Club, basically what Phil wanted to say is you got to catch a flight. You got to check the flights. You got to catch I'm messing with you, man. Yeah. I went to his local school out in Chowan University in Murfreesboro, North Carolina. And Murfreesboro is a very small town. And I'm like, okay, where's the Walmart at? Oh, in a Hosky, that's about 30 minutes out. Okay, where's this at? Oh, on this side. You want to go to Franklin? This side. So but it definitely like you said, definitely humbles you though.
Yeah. No, it was a great place to live and grow up, and there's just not as much economic opportunity, and so you want to get out there and spread your wings a little bit. But it's a great place. It's growing now more than was when I was there, and so a lot of my friends went away but moved back. But they're doing their thing, and so yeah, everything's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, look, Philip, man, you're joining or Phil. Is it okay if I call you Phil?
Most people call me Phil. My wife calls me Philip. So.
Oh, well, I definitely don't want to step on your wife's toe. I will call you Phil. I don't want no. So Phil, you're a busy guy as far as when it comes to community. I mean, you're part of the board of equalization, parks and recreation, civics leader. You're involved in youth sports, man. And you're a business owner, and you're a husband, and you're a father. Why run? Why think about running for what's the thought process comes to the to say, okay, look, I want to run for office. I want to run for local office. Why so?
Yeah. So first off, it wasn't on the radar, right? So you may or may not know I'm running to fill our current councilman is Chris Taylor.
Yes, sir.
He's running for mayor,
and
so I'm actually running just to fill the last 2 years of his seat. So this wasn't really planned, but I'll go back to Smithfield, where I grew up, in a big family in a small town. We live right next to a YMCA. My parents were always involved. Like, my mom volunteered at the library consistently for like 20 years, which we could walk to. My folks were always just, through church, Boy Scouts. I think it was sort of instilled in me at an early age to be involved in the community. It's just, if everyone plays their part, then the community can thrive. So, I did that growing up, went to college, and then once you graduate, you got to start making some money, right?
That's right.
Marriage and kids and a career, that was the focus. A few years ago, though, I really, particularly after the pandemic was starting to unfold, a lot of different people complain about a lot of different things. School shutdowns, small business being shut down, regulations, and at some point it's either just complain or try to do something about it. And so for me, it was like, let me start getting involved. I think I'm at a point in my career where I have some time, and so that's what I started doing. So I went to my civic league. I'm now the vice president of my civic league. From there, I connected with Chris Taylor, who, like I said, is our councilman. And really, to his credit, he got me plugged in. True to his word, to try to get more working class people representation and involved in city government. He appointed me to Parks and Rec Commission, which, some people think that's kind of not a very important one, but it's actually really important. I mean, the Virginia Beach Parks system last year was awarded a gold medal for the best run park system in the entire country for a city our size. We beat out cities in Florida, Texas, California, everywhere.
Wow.
Our rec centers, our parks amenities, it's one of many reasons why people want to be in Virginia Beach. So it just sort of trickled from there. I got on that Parks and Rec Commission, then I got on a couple others, and then with Chris deciding to run, sort of felt like a natural step to step up to the big leagues, if you could say it.
Absolutely. Well, and it's so dope that you brought that up, because, and not trying to make it sound corny, so one of my favorite shows, Office, but The Office had a spinoff show called Parks and Rec, and is led to be a comedy, but it actually does kind of show you what goes on in Parks and Rec in a city. And like you mentioned, it's extremely important because when you look at Parks and Rec just around in the Hampton Roads area, but specifically in Virginia Beach, that's where you take the families at. Okay, weather's beautiful. Okay, let's bring the kids out and not let them be hogged in front of the TV playing video games. No, it all leads, because that's what gets you involved in the community. That's what gets you networking a lot with people within your neighborhood. So Parks and Rec is a big deal in the Hampton Roads and in Virginia Beach. With everything that you've joined, because I love what you had said about the upbringing, always being involved in something community related, right? That's how you were raised, that's how you were taught, and you've always were doing something. How do you manage the time? Because like I mentioned before, you're in a lot of groups. You're involved in youth sports, because I think you coach baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm assistant coach, and I really would be a head coach. If I had a little more time, if I could commit to it. But yeah, I mean, I've got an 11-year-old daughter who plays softball. And then my 6-year-old son, I'm helping coach his coach pitch team. And then I got a 4-year-old that does t-ball. So there's a saying, I don't know if you've heard it. It's a sort of old saying, but if you want something done, give it to a mom, right? And it's because moms are so busy, but busy people tend to get stuff done.
That's right. That's right.
I find that actually, in some ways, there's a limit, but I find that the busier I am, it makes me prioritize and maximize it makes you more. You just, by nature of your plant, priorities, you have to be more efficient. So if you give someone a long time to get a project done, they're going to take the whole time. So, I just think life's better busy. That's just how I am. Everyone's different. But for me, I think it's cool. My kids get to see a lot of different things in Virginia Beach. And I don't know. That's just kind of how we roll.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So, as far as some of the, key, because you mentioned you're running to serve for the next 2 years, but has it been thought to say, well, once those 2 years is up, do I want to, do I want to continue this? Because if so, what are some of the key things that you're advocating for within your campaign? Because I know you have you're very big on community related things, Parks and Rec, things like that. So
yeah, that's a good point. So it's the election that I'm running for is a 2-year term, and then in 2026 it'll be like a 4-year term. To be honest with you, I haven't really thought too far ahead to 2026. I'm just thinking about this cycle. I imagine. I serve on 4 boards and commissions. So I'm pretty.
You're in there basically. What's happening.
Sort of like the minor leagues, right? I'm with the Tides or something. So
Tides.
I've got a decent handle on kind of like what that schedule and tempo is, to tie in with like my family, my business. So I think I would really enjoy it as long as we can get stuff done. Ultimately, up to the people if they would want to hire me and elect me first and then reelect me. So I haven't really looked ahead to 2026. But as far as things that we need to get done now is, I think we got to start getting some new people in office. First off, just to change some things up. But the one big thing that sets me apart really from any candidate that's ever run for city council is, I don't know if you've heard of the VB Trail. It's a transformative project. I had a press conference about a week and a half ago on the train tracks. I encourage everyone to check it out on my website at philhines.com. We have a opportunity that our city has planned out for 43 years. It's called the VB Trail.
43. I didn't mean to cut you off. Jeez.
43 years, and it's a biking and jogging trail from Newtown Road straight down the old Norfolk Southern rail line directly to the oceanfront. It could be an iconic trail that can it can spur redevelopment along the boulevard, bring in more affordable housing, bring in new business, and frankly, there's still room for light rail if that was ever to come back on the table as well. We've had a plan for 43 years to do this bike and jogging trail. Virginia Beach is a very fitness oriented community. We've just never had anyone make that a priority, which to me is crazy. Because if you look at, we have an issue with young professionals not wanting to stay in Virginia Beach.
Very true.
Come
Very
back.
true.
And so this is one of many things we can do to combat that. If you look at Atlanta, they have a very robust biking system. We look at Northern Virginia, even Richmond and the city has a pretty good bike transit plan. And a lot of people like to talk about Raleigh as kind of a comparable in some ways because it's more suburban and they have somewhat of a down. Raleigh has a tremendous biking, a very robust biking trail system. We just got to make it a priority. It's there, ready to go. It's shovel ready. We have the money. I just think we have some people that have been in office that are just complacent, and it's not a big deal with them.
Well, you already hit a nerve with me that I've spoken a lot on this program many a times. Is I'm a huge advocate of new faces in office, new leadership. Don't no disrespect to anybody that have served for a countless amount of years, but if you've been in office since the late 90s, early 2000s, I'm sorry, it's time to move on for the next next in line, because I feel like every day new ideas and new great creativity is always popping up, right? And so for you to say 43 years this has been planning, I'm sorry, like if you would have said like 4 or 8, okay, I mean, I understand, but 43, that's I mean, not I don't understand why they wouldn't assume that would be very essential for it, especially to avoid traffic, to avoid a majority of their activities is led at the oceanfront in Virginia Beach. And Virginia right now, Hampton Roads is festival season. We have festivals galore happening. So again, something like a great bike trail will be beneficial. People can leave from their homes and be like, oh, we don't have to take a car and thing. We can just take the bike trail. It keeps people active. It keeps people. That just blows my mind when you said that number 43 years is like.
Yeah. Well, it really is one of the most win-win projects we have. I mean, it's like I said, it doesn't cost that much. We don't have to raise, it doesn't have to raise taxes for it. And the other thing, and probably the bigger thing, is the public wants it. So we do, Parks and Rec does a scientific study every 2 years. For years on end, going back, every single 2 years, we do this study, which is statistically valid. The number one thing our residents want is more biking and walking trails. So it's also another thing is our city has somewhat of an issue asking citizens what they want and then, not acting on what the citizens want, right? And so some people would call that lip service. I don't know. I'm not in their shoes, so it's hard to really say how they make decisions and things of that nature. But that's just one big thing. Our city has been incorporated as a city for 61 years now. So last year we celebrated the last 60 years, and that's great. Our city's in a great place. To me, the future of our city for the next 60 years is this trail and along the boulevard. It connects everybody. It's a safe way to get around the city. People that don't have the money to buy a vehicle, you know what? You can get an electric scooter, right? Or you can just get your miles in by riding your bike. But it creates economic opportunity for people that may not have a vehicle. It's a no-brainer. We should get it done. So that's kind of my centerpiece platform issue. But other things are important too. We need to continue to fund our schools, fund our extracurricular activities such as sports.
Absolutely.
There was a conversation a couple months ago about making student athletes pay $100 a season, which is ridiculous. As someone that went to public school, for budget cuts, and it's like, no. We got a $2.5+ billion budget. You cannot. We got the money. We just got to spend it better. And yeah, I mean, as someone that played sports in high school, that was a big driver for me. I was always going to do well in school, but like I knew I had to make sure my grades were good enough to my parents' standards, so that I was going to be playing. So I'm really a big supporter of all those things, public safety.
Absolutely.
That's super important. And again, kind of back to the parks and really just green space.
Mhm.
We need to develop our city. And again, I think the answer is along cleaning up the boulevard, get us out of the 70s and 80s strip mall shopping center model. We need to let's head into the 21st century while still maintaining the character of neighborhoods where people bought 15, 20, 30 years ago. So I think we can do it. I think we just have to have some new leadership.
Mhm. Well, I want to come back to that question, Phil, but you got me still stuck with the as far as citizens and residents not getting quite the information that okay, I'm been talking with a lot of current candidates from all of the 7 cities here in Hampton
Yep.
Roads, and a lot of them is there's a trend that a lot of great ones have said, okay, I'm here to be a voice for the people,
Yeah.
because right now residents, voters, they seem like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. They seem like it's a lot of unmade promises being made, and it's like, okay, they say they're gonna do this, and then they do the opposite, right? And it's
Yeah.
where's the trust factor in it? And I think that's when it shows in voting numbers who came out to vote, and it can be very difficult to earn back the community's trust, especially like you had mentioned before. This trail has been 43 years in the making, and it's still nothing. And it can be beneficial. It's not taking money out of this community's hands as far as raising up taxes or anything in that nature. But it's like, okay, there's always, like, I'm seeing a lot of luxury apartments being made, or I'm seeing this and that, and it's just like, what's the deal? How would you say, say you're in office, are you going to be that guy to at least keep residents up to speed of, hey, look, this is what we have going on, and this is
Yeah.
would that be something people can see as far as under a Phil Hines as city councilman, excuse me.
So it kind of sounds like maybe what you're getting, transparency and public outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely, I'm already kind of doing that, to be honest with you, on some of the commissions and boards that I serve on.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to educate and spread the word about things that really just aren't getting covered in the news, and that's a subject. But
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty much an open book, right? So I think it's
Awesome.
important to meet with voters, of all ages, all income classes, and I'll hold town halls just as much as the next person. But we have an issue with local media is it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to monetize, right?
Yeah.
It's different. Newspapers aren't. Things are just different, right? And so, unfortunately, as you probably well know, like local media has a funding issue, and so I at least try to fill in a small capacity, fill that void.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of news out there that used to get covered because there were more staff, and there's just not. The pilot
Yeah.
didn't have the people. So
The pilots barely even existed. I mean, they
right.
nobody really reads an actual copy of the pilot. It's all digital, and it's just, yeah, you're absolutely right with that. That's why you should watch the Arrington Gavin show every Monday, Wednesday. I'm joking.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the other challenge is to people get in office doing one thing, doing the other. First off,
Mhm.
again, it's hard. I'm not in their shoes, right? So it's
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
hard. I'd have to talk to them to see maybe why they make their decisions. But I think the political sort of world. Some people get really entrenched and ingrained in it, and you've got
Mhm.
uh, business organizations, political organizations that not everybody wants the boat rocked too much, right?
Yeah.
And so you have people that will just groups and organizations that they'll try to get behind one candidate or the other that
Mhm.
they know will just sort of keep things moving along.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I think that's part of the issue is I think got to look at VPAT, which is I
Mhm.
think the Virginia Public Access Project, or you look at who's donating to the campaign of the candidates. That a lot of times tells the story, and that's
Absolutely.
why at my press conference a week or so ago, I made the pledge to not accept any major developer or major corporate campaign
It's
contributions
very important. It's very important.
because you know then that's not because I don't like business. I'm in business. I love business. We need big business and we need developers. But there's such a bad public perception with our city council as a body, not every candidate, but as a body, that, some of these companies and developers have too much influence over candidates. I just think the best way to combat that is to be neutral, to
Absolutely.
just be independent of them, be independent of a lot of groups that have a lot of perceived political influence. And so that's what I'm doing, because I don't know how else we change this public perception that, big business owns city council.
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's honestly what it is, Phil, is being your authentic self. Because I mean, again, you see an issue going on in your community, and you're going to be like, no, my main focus is, for one, earning the people's trust, as well as, once I'm in office, we're going to get this done. We're going to get that done. And you're absolutely right. It happens on a local circuit. It obviously, I mean, it happens on a federal level, because we hear a lot of the saying Congress is bought, the Senate is bought, and they're trying to prevent that, because there are people waiting in line, like a line at a Taylor Swift concert or something. They're like, all right, we're ready. Okay, you have to be the next candidate. And that's the sad thing that I think residents always need to be aware of. And no, you're absolutely right. It's not a majority of the of people in council, but it's almost like, you're representing one team, right? One person it represents the whole entire team. Even if that one bad apple is a part of it, hey, you represent all of us, man. So if you do this, you're making us all look bad. And now we got to continue to fight back all the allegations and things in that nature. And so I think that's an awesome thing that you're doing, because again, you're just proving to the people, hey, look, we're doing this grassroots. We're independent, and we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're doing. The campaign's been going great. Got a lot of support from a wide spectrum of people, because it's community stuff, right? So the beauty, in my opinion, with local races is, for once, people can get together and not worry about if they're a Democrat or Republican or whatever. We're talking about parks and schools and bike trails and roads, and sports. Sports is like one of those things that brings everyone together. And so, to me, that's the opportunity. And so we got to start, people got to start talking to each other. We're going to change. And that's the other thing. Our local stuff has so much more influence. Local government has so much more immediate influence over everyday citizens than whatever happens in DC or even
Richmond. Yep.
A decision tonight can impact all of us tomorrow in Virginia Beach. And so, I think it's just really cool, because we can all work together, right?
Absolutely.
It's not Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, any of that stuff. It's just, it's a community issue. Should we do this? Should we not?
Exactly.
It's all about the merits of the project,
So I want to go back. If I'm trying to remember, you were talking about, more green spaces, keeping the city, up to speed on the future, and not kind of like the 70s strip mall things. So what will be, like, say, the adjustment, the change? Say you're in office and you do have, because we have a significant amount of mom and pop shops still opening, family owned business, but we do have a lot of corporate companies, franchises and things in that nature, and it's always so much development being built. What's your take on that? How would you help make that transition from, say, like you said, the 70s strip mall to, let's move on to the future stuff? How would you be making that change?
Yeah, so it starts with something called the comprehensive plan. Now, every city and town across the state of Virginia is supposed to update what they call a comprehensive plan every 5 years. Right now, Virginia Beach is in the middle of updating it. A comprehensive plan is basically a development guide. It's kind of like a Bible for development on how the city should be planning future growth. And it's not hard and fast. You can always, it's sort of written in pencil, so you can adjust. It's not written in pen, but it is kind of the framework for how a city should be developing going forward. And so one of the So a few months ago, I graduated from VCU at a planning commissioner course, and so I
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot there. And that's one of the things they talk about is you really got to look at this comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan, again, it's all about how the city should move forward. Where should they put more high-rise apartments? Where should they maintain farmland? Where should they maintain more green space? And that's all driven by public input, supposed to be, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of public meetings, people throw out their ideas. So I guess, that's where it sort of starts. And so we're in the middle of that. And so as it stands now, it looks like our comprehensive plan
Mm-hmm.
is going to put a lot of emphasis on building up and encouraging more mixed use, commercial and residential and retail
Mm-hmm.
along the boulevard in certain pockets. So when it comes to planning commission, the city council and they approve projects. They've
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they've denied a gas station because they just said, well, we got a gas station right down the street. What we don't need another one, right? So it's kind of tricky because
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like it when government tells me what to do with my business because that's always
That's why I
at the
kind of
same
chuckled
time,
when you said that.
but at the same time, like local governments have that authority.
Mm-hmm.
So like if a franchise wanted to come in, ultimately it's up to the commission, the planning commission to
Mm-hmm.
deliberate, work through it, make a recommendation. But really council and the mayor, they have to make that decision on, is this really like, do we need another big box store?
Yeah.
Or is that really part of our future planning? Or should we be encouraging investment from a different type of developer to do X, Y, Z? And so, I think that's what it's about. But again, it all kind of comes back to the perception because candidates haven't always had political courage, in my opinion, to
Mm.
press our city forward because number one, they're worried about reelection. And number two, if you look at who's donating to them, it's a lot of times local developers. So there
Yes.
may be a good project on the table,
Mm-hmm.
but because they fear they may not get reelected because those developers donate to their campaign,
Mm-hmm.
they're voting on the project. So unfortunately, we've had not everybody, but we've
Mm-hmm.
had pretty fearful city council for a long time holding our
Mm.
city back. And I'm tired of it, right? And there's a lot of people under 50 that are tired of it too. Um, but we're all too busy running our lives, going to the baseball field, going to basketball, going to football and soccer. That's not on the radar. But so it goes back to we got to get newer people in,
Mm-hmm.
truly, I think, independent people in that can make those tough decisions because we've just been hamstrung. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, Phil, because like two things came to my mind, and again, I'm a Chesapeake guy, but I mean, the 7 cities, I feel like we're all kind of in
yeah,
one big.
for sure.
So,
I'll tell you a funny story about that too.
so like one thing I can't stand is I feel like every side I turn, there's a tobacco and vape shop. And
Mhm.
I'll just a quick story. My wife and I, we went to go visit our alma mater over in Chowan University, small town of
Mhm.
Murfreesboro, and we always sometimes just love to drive through because it was a cute small town. Everything was mom and pop shops and stuff. And I'm like, okay, what did they just add? Oh, they added this. Oh, they added that. I find out they added 4 tobacco vape shops on one street. That's literally like, okay, I can walk 2 steps, tobacco vape. Ooh, 3 steps, tobacco vape. And I'm like, okay, how is this? What is the benefit in this, right? What is the benefit? And I'm
Yeah.
seeing that a lot in the community. And then also, there was quite a made local news. It was quite a headline when recently the collective bargaining that was going on in
Mhm.
Virginia Beach. You had a 5-5, and then one person abstained her vote, and people were pissed. I mean, obviously workers were extremely pissed because this is no direct shot at that person, but a lot of people were saying, okay, when they were running for office, they said they were going to do this, they were going to do this, and they didn't. So it kind of, it goes into what's happening. We had this, neck and neck vote, and now it's just, we got to do it again. And it's been ongoing. But what were you going to say, Phil? I didn't want you to lose your
I
eyes.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you talk about, the peninsula. Again, growing up in Smithfield, you had to go everywhere to do anything.
Hmm.
So I have and I spent a lot of time out in Virginia Beach as a kid. I
Hmm.
played on a travel baseball team out here called the Tidewater Drillers and did a bunch of other baseball out here. But I was just at an event a few weeks ago down at the ocean front
Hmm.
for a small business kickoff for a friend. Anyway, I was just talking to someone at the hotel who was visiting. They're like, yeah, it was probably late March. So it was kind of cold. And they said they were visiting from Miami,
Hmm.
probably, mid 50s couple. And I said, oh, what? They're like, we just want to come up here to get away from Miami. And I was like, okay. And she was like, yeah, we went downtown earlier today. I said, we're at the ocean front. So I said, what are you downtown, like town center? She's like, no, like, where the ships are, like, and the waterside place. I was like, oh, Norfolk. And so a lot of, for a lot of people, downtown is downtown Norfolk. Like
Yep.
that's downtown of Virginia Beach for a lot of people. It's only
Wow.
15, 20 minutes from town center. From Chesapeake is 15, 20 minutes. So
Hmm.
to your point, like, yeah, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, even I would say part of Portsmouth, although the tunnel kind of separates
Very,
it.
very true. Very true.
Um, you know, we are, I mean, it's Hampton Roads. So,
It's one big, and it's interesting. It's funny that you said they came from technically like a larger known
oh,
city
yeah.
to Hampton Roads, and I was one of those kids that, okay, when I was in, I say, middle school, high school, I couldn't wait to get out of Hampton Roads. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm gonna graduate and I'm getting the heck out of here. I'm excited. And then it didn't dawn on me until I became a business owner. And this was, really while I was playing in college. I said, well, you know what? I wanna be a part of a community that I know is still like, I'd rather be a part of the upbringing, like
Yeah.
the creation process, and not just something that's already well established. Because you're almost like a small fish in a huge ocean, rather than just being like, look, you're a part of the creation. And I see a lot of growth that Hampton Roads, that Virginia Beach, that Chesapeake, every city in the Hampton Roads area can get to. But I truly think when it comes to leadership, when it comes to who's in office, again, I'm a Chesapeake guy. We've had people in office since the
Mhm.
90s, and we're still at the at large, and and
Okay.
that's another thing we're trying to kind of fight for, potentially having like a district system or a ward
Yeah.
system, because
Yeah.
I think in population wise, out of the state, I know Virginia Beach is the largest population wise. Second to
Mhm.
them is Chesapeake, and it's
Yeah.
like you have people in office that they take care of one side of the town and not the full, and it's unfair because residents are like, hey, look, what about us? We pay
Yeah.
taxes just like we help fund it too, so what's the deal? But I think I think, Phil, is guys like you that we definitely need to continue to see in office and in leadership, because for one, you're being honest and upfront, you're being a voice for the community. You're very, hey, you're like, hey, look, it's easy, we can do this if all we do is just X, Y, and Z, and not have to stretch. So I truly think that, again, this is not me endorsing. I interviewed plenty of candidates on the show, but
Yeah.
just by talking with you, boss, because this is a very unbiased platform. We here just have a conversation just to speak about, hey, look, what can what's your platform, what are you going to be doing for your community out here? And I just want to let people always stay informed, because like you mentioned, local outlets, local news currently right now, local media outlets, they share stuff but for like 3 seconds, and that's the kind of the power of streaming right now, where we can have these long standing conversations so people can be aware, and it can educate as well.
Yeah. Now, again, I think it really all goes back to um, being independent.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, if you go back to the only independent party kind of president our
Hmm.
country's had was George Washington. Our first president was the only independent president. He wasn't
Wow.
Republican, he wasn't Democrat. And a lot of people consider him, one of the best, right? Because he just did his thing and left. Um, that's it's hard to make decisions in the best interest of the community if you've got too many people that you're hamstrung by.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. If you give me $10,000, it's going to make me think twice about if I'm going to really approve or deny your application. And so for me, small contributions from citizens, 25, 50, $100. It's just that I just think that's the only way, because our leaders have been hamstrung. They're not making, they have a history of not making bold decisions, fear of reelection. And again, how long do you want to be in this seat for anyway? I mean, I couldn't imagine being here 20 years from now in this seat. Right? I don't know that I'll be the most relevant person in 20 years. Like if I've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's other ways to serve the city too. You don't just have to be on council. So we just need more of that. And ultimately we need to get more people involved and engaged to even think about doing this. Most people think, oh, I'm never going to run for office. I don't have enough money. I don't know how to where to start, what to do. And so that's another, I'll always be an advocate, and in what I'm learning and going through now, I want to be able to help other candidates in Chesapeake or Virginia Beach or Portsmouth or wherever, not charge them, not be a political consultant, just be, help them get up and going.
I would ask Phil, because you see, one thing on this show is questions just pop up in the head. I'm like, oh, okay. So for people that are those people that say, no, I could never do, run for office, I can never be a part of that life. How do you? Because some people can say the reason why we have experienced, seasoned veterans still in office and in leadership is because there is nobody, say, taking that jump. And I truly believe there might be even some candidates that are like, oh, I'm dying to just retire, but they voted for me again, and I won re-election. So how do you, how would you even sway individuals or young people? Hey, look, you should try out, because I know you're involved in a lot of different commissions and boards and different groups, but how do you even sway somebody to say, hey, check this out, you might find a interest? How would you do so, being a part of that life now?
Yeah, well, you got to find something that's going to interest them, right? The local government for a lot of people is boring, and it is, anything's boring until you find it interesting, right? Knitting and cutting your grass and landscaping and gardening was kind of a boring thing for me as a kid, but now that's like the thing to do for guys. They go to Home Depot and then they're and your wife gardens. So it's like you got to find a way to hook people in to make it relatable. So like for me, bike trail. Everybody wants a bike trail. Public wants it. All right, well, we can't do anything about it unless I get in office and we get a few other people in office and we make it a priority. So a vote for me is a vote for the bike trail. That's, you got to I think you got to find a way to make it tangible to people. You think your taxes are too high? All right, cool. Well, then start talking about it. Appeal your property assessment. So I think you just got to find ways to make it relatable to people, because every city council candidate almost always says the same thing. And you can't even distinguish between most of the candidates. They want good schools. They want to support the police, fire. It's like, yeah, I want all that same stuff too. The question is, do you really want to? Because we're short 50 cops in Virginia Beach right now. Our firefighters are overworked and they're overworked, right? Yeah. And they don't feel like they have a seat at the table. So like, at the end of the day, it all comes down to competition. If you don't have someone step up and challenge, then we're just going to keep getting more of the same. But I think to get new people involved, gotta find a way to make it tangible. So like, you can get this. These are all. It's our city. It's our tax dollars. It doesn't have to just. We all should have a say in it.
Absolutely.
Let's start making our voice heard. But another way to really kind of loop people in is to get, like Chris did with me. Got me on the. I didn't know what a city commission was. Why would I even know? It's I think it's all about exposure, right?
Absolutely,
all about exposure. It's just like taking your little kids to a high school football game or something like, or a college football. It's like you could look. There's something beyond the rec league you can aspire to, and so a lot of the government stuff. That's where big things happen on our local level in these small meetings, these small committees, and no one's there. And so we got to find a way to just start getting newer people and plugged in.
Absolutely. I mean,
here's the other
Mhm.
thing on that note, though, I'll say is it's probably just, I don't think it's necessarily intentional, but when you get in a rut and you have typically the same people in office that are just checking the box, you're just going to keep getting the same people and the same results, doing all these committees and stuff like that. So again, sometimes you got to shake it up. I'm not saying you got to, don't, break things just to do it. But the truth is, we do have things that we can get done. Our city can move forward. And so we need some change.
We absolutely do, Phil. And I mean, one thing, and I share a lot on this show is I registered independent, right? I literally, the whole party system thing never really stuck with me ever. I mean, and I was fortunate to be raised in like a non-political household. We were always, okay, person over party. If this person, if you is doing so, okay, vote for him. But again, we just live in a society that marketing wise, it's a better story to have divisiveness rather than being that strong independent, because at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, in my knowledge, independence means that, okay, we can come together, because it doesn't just take one individual to change a whole entire community, right? It takes a village. It takes a village in order to make those changes. And I will say, another thing that I guess bugs me when it comes to campaigns and just, politics is they tend to always, and a friend of mine had told me, who works in media, is that sometimes TV news will give you the headline, but a newspaper or an article will give you the meat and potatoes and you can actually read about it. So I get tired of seeing headlines of what you're going to do and explain to me in layman's terms, because not everybody can speak policy. Like, when they bring it up, okay, this is what we can do, this would get that, this is what we can do, and so on and so on, because the residents are like, wait, what did they just say? They said, okay, they're gonna fight for education. Cool. How? I'm gonna fight for safe. How? Like, there's a lot of questions that hasn't been answered for voters. And again, I've spoke with a lot of candidates, some of them, like, either running for re-election or just new in office, but they're having the same, similar to what you're saying, being that voice, being the person that, okay, look, this is what's going to go down. I will continue to share this, so keep people informed, because let's be honest, if I go ask 10 people about, hey, have you ever been to your local city government website? We got a city website. What? We got a .gov. Like, no one knows that stuff.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, again, government's probably by nature boring. The government websites aren't always necessarily the most user-friendly.
No one's watching Chesapeake TV. I'll just tell you that right now.
Right. So, I agree with you 100% on that.
Absolutely. Well, look, Phil, I truly, truly appreciate the conversation, man. And again, I know you're extremely busy, because hell, you got a campaign you're going on right now. So I know you're busy, and you still, you're a business owner, like I mentioned, a father, husband. I truly appreciate you taking the time out your schedule coming here on the program. And I want to go ahead and put this out for all the viewers, at least, that are watching, and for those who are listening. PhilHines.com. If you happen to be a Virginia resident and you want to learn more about this candidate, PhilHines.com. It will give you everything you need to know about this candidate. And hey, if you are, not even in the area, but hey, you want to contribute to his, contribute to his campaign, saying, look, I like what this man stands for, and I really enjoy the convo. Hey, again, check it out. And Phil, once again,
I've got one update, if I can add in.
Oh,
probably should have done it at the beginning. So actually, we can break some news on your show.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Breaking news.
So best for last. So current Councilman Chris Taylor, over the weekend, he just formally endorsed me for his seat. And so very honored and appreciative of that from Mr. Taylor. And so I think that, he got the majority of the support when he ran for office a couple of years ago. And to me, that's other than, my wife's endorsement, that's the best endorsement you can get, is from someone that's in that job, doing the hard work every day. And so I'll start putting it out there, but people heard it here first.
True, man. That is awesome. Well, look, again, y'all just heard it from Phil Hines, candidate for Virginia Beach Council District 8, just announced that current councilman in that position, Chris Taylor, who is currently a candidate for Virginia Beach City Mayor, just endorsed Phil Hines, y'all. Phil Hines. That is major news, because I will say, and it's funny because I have been Chris and I, or Councilman Taylor, we've been on, through text, trying to schedule some dates. He is I will say he's because I had the opportunity to interview him on a old radio show I did a while back when he was running for council. Very sharp guy, very passionate. I think it's the fact that he's a former collegiate athlete. It's just that competitiveness. He's like, no, never say never. Never. I got this in the bag. And he is very, very. It's a very tough race. It's a very tough race. Yeah. I think they're now at 5 candidates in total with this Virginia Beach race. But the first thing he had mentioned was new leadership. Some new leadership. We need new leadership. And he, him being a young guy, I think it also attracts young voters. The fact that, okay, look, let me listen up, what he's talking about. And that's a big deal. So that is awesome. Again, I want to repeat it again here on the Arrington Gavin Show. This is breaking news. Phil Hines, candidate for Virginia Beach City Council District 8, has just received an endorsement by current councilman Chris Taylor. Also, he is the current candidate for Virginia Beach City Mayor, which is again a big deal. So, man, how did that feel?
It felt great. Again, to get the support of the person in that job, to me, that's the most important thing, right? I'd love to get support from anyone else, the business community, or whoever else. And I do have a lot of small business supporting me, but that's the one that really mattered, right? Because he knows what the job entails. And I also want to make it clear too that he has my full support. He has my endorsement. So I'm really, really excited about campaigning with him across the city. There's a lot of people that I believe I can help him reach through my real estate business. And, it's a tough race. You got 5 people in it for mayor. But I mean, if there was ever a year, this is a year we can really make some big change if we do it right. And so far so good. So I'm very excited about that.
That is awesome. That is really that's big stuff. And I'm glad you actually brought up real estate, because again, in real estate there's a lot of negotiation when it comes to real estate. Again, voters, those who are tuning the show, when it comes to who you want, that prime negotiator when it comes to, hey, is this going to be right for you? And I mean, hey, that's a big deal. That's a big deal, Phil. Again, please check out more information about Phil Hines' platform by going to his website, philhines.com, y'all. Philhines.com. Phil Hines, candidate, Virginia Beach City Council, District 8. Phil, I truly appreciate it. Look, don't go anywhere. I'm going to take you on backstage. I'm going to close up this show so we can just chop it just for a few more minutes, if that's okay.
Awesome.
Well, again, ladies and gents, Phil Hines. Look, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed another great conversation here on the Arrington Gavin Show. One thing I just always am passionate about is speaking with just independent minds that want to do, good for their community, and not just the typical politician like, hey, vote for me, I got you. No, let's be honest. Let's be real. We're dealing with people's living situation. We're dealing with taxpayers. We're dealing with small businesses. We're dealing with just, with youth as well when it comes to the upbringing, how to keep the community safe and all the above. So I really enjoyed this conversation with Phil Hines, man. I felt, I heard his passion. I love what his, what he spoke on as far as just not being or not receiving, big, monies from corporations and things in that nature. So again, that's what we need in politics. That's what we need in our local communities and really on higher levels. I'm not really going to go in the whole spiel of the big huge federal election happening right now, because that'll be a whole nother story. But again, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Be sure to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for new episodes here on the Arrington Gavin Show. I will see y'all next time. Y'all take it easy, stay blessed. We are out.